Hi, Ian Newton here, and thank you for purchasing this ebook. The goal of the book is to make the Vibrant Health Way easy for you to adopt and, more importantly, to stick with. Anybody can do something for a short time, but embracing an idea, and it's an important idea. Harvard University have now stated that gliadin, which is the active component in gluten, causes leaky gut syndrome in 100% of human beings. That's just not those people who react to gluten. That's every single person. And the result of leaky gut is that inflammatory molecules are created in your bloodstream, and these can cause inflammatory problems in your brain, in your joints, in your skin, in your lungs, throughout your entire body. And that's one of the areas we're looking at. Of course, the other big area is sugar. Now we know that sugar equals inflammation. So if you see something sugary, just think inflammation. And as a reminder, we know that sugar isn't just table sugar. So many people say to me, but I don't eat much sugar. I only put 1 teaspoon in my coffee. But they eat bread and pasta and rice. And so we know what happens there, and potatoes. All of those foods are converted to glucose in the bloodstream, and to all intents and purposes are sugar. So anything that causes you to have an insulin spike is going to create problems in your body. So I guess if you've read through my site, if you've read some of the blogs, and I'd recommend that you go through and read some of the blogs. They're short, they're only 400 words or so, and there's usually just a small point to be made in each blog, so you can scan them fairly quickly. Find the ones that are, relate to yourself. What I'm interested in now is making it work. So often people come to a new idea with the old ideas in place, the old problems they've had, the old resistances they've had still in place. They've tried the low-calorie diets that didn't work, and the Weight Watchers and the Jenny Craigs and all those things that ultimately just fail people, and the statistics are there to prove that. What we need to do is to be able to find a way through. There was a Boston University study, and what they looked at was low calorie, and then this other one wasn't exactly, low calories around 20% fat, and then they went to a medium fat diet of just 35%, and that's lower than what we're recommending. Now, the low calorie people over 2 years on average gained 6 pounds. The low fat people on average lost 9 pounds. Now, that's not a lot of weight, but 9 pounds is 9 pounds, as opposed to gaining weight on the low-calorie diet. On the low-calorie, only about 20% of the people stuck to diet. On the medium fat, around 50% of people. My goal is always to get as many people to stick to it as possible. And if I can get 70 or 80% of people to stick to any plan, that's an absolute massive win, given that less than 5% of people generally will see things out over the really long term. So this is important for you to just stand back and think, well, where are my weaknesses? I talk about this in the text. Do I have the sweet tooth? Is it the savory snacks that get me? Is alcohol with my meal a problem? Just remember something about alcohol. Alcohol is not a health food. All this talk about resveratrol, the active polyphenol, in red wine as being beneficial is a load of rubbish. Studies have shown that you need to drink a barrel of wine to get enough resveratrol to make a difference. And if you were to take enough resveratrol tablets, you would have the biggest exploding diarrhea attack on the planet before you started to get benefits. It's marketing. Wine industry drives studies to try and show benefits. The benefits just aren't there. It's unfortunate because I like red wine too. And a glass of red wine now and then, it doesn't matter. A glass of white wine, it doesn't matter. It's what you do most of the time that matters. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling, I can't get started with this, and how can I possibly give up sugar? Well, with the first strategy here is we're sliding in slowly. What we want to do is just start to slide some of the sugary treats out, start to slide some of the volumes of the pasta and potato and rice that you're consuming out, and just keep sliding that out over a period of weeks. Now, in one sense, the easiest way to do this is just do it all at once. But for most people, they don't. And we know that. some of us are good at making those fast changes, and some of us have to find a way through. But you can do it. So each week, and I talk about it happening over 4 weeks. We set 4 weeks to get to where we want to go, and that's actually a really long time. And you will be backing everything off. So you won't have that massive feeling of, being without sugar for a few days. However, it does keep the desire for sugar going because you're still consuming it. But what I recommend is to start backing it off. Back off the sodas, and do not replace any of your foods with diet foods. Diet foods create diabetes, diet foods make people fat, and that is just basic science. That science is understood by the entire food industry, and that's been reported in medical journals. I first saw diet sugar alternatives as a problem with weight back in the mid-90s in medical journals. It's not rocket science. It's not difficult to understand if you know it, but it's often hidden in this idea that a Diet Coke or a Diet Pepsi or a diet this or a low calorie this is going to be good for you. Nothing could be further from the truth, because fats aren't bad. And the important thing to recommend is you can't just go and eat lashings and lashings of fat. It's not an just not a big fat fest. It's about bringing good amounts of the healthy fats in and having just ordinary moderate portions of those saturated fats, so those meats on your plate. You don't need big serves, you just have normal serves. Bring it in, change it bit by bit. That's an important thing to do. You can do this. Just start taking it out, cutting back. If you have control over your pantry, it's obviously easier, because as things finish, you don't replace them. You basically won't be replacing anything in the packets or the sauces. All the sauces and the packet foods, all the stuff in the cupboards basically contain sugar or the industrial oils. So, just to clarify, we're getting rid of anything that turns into glucose in the bloodstream. That is anything with sugar in it at all. That is anything with wheat in it, or rice, or potatoes. We also want to limit the amount of fruit we eat to just 1 or 2 pieces of fruit a day, but not in the form of fruit juices. Now you can blend up your fruit serve into smoothies to make them a little sweeter. And the reason we're so pedantic about this is because fructose, the sugar in fruit, is very difficult to break down the liver, takes a lot of energy, and it suppresses important hormones that regulate your blood, your appetite. And of course, it still contributes. It ends up as glucose. It just seems unfair. And of course, the sweeter the fruit, the worse. A very sweet mango obviously has more fructose than an apple. And you know what's sweet. It doesn't mean you can't have a bit here and there. My wife and I, during mango season, will share a mango here and there. But I don't want to eat them all the time. The trouble is, I know too much about this sort of thing. I know that it's having an effect. So you're taking those things down. You're getting rid of all the industrial processed oils, all the omega-6 oils, the sunflower, the safflower, the peanut oil, the grapeseed oil, the cottonseed oils, the soy oils. None of these. I would even recommend just getting rid of them straight up. They are really incredibly bad for you. There's way too much omega-6, and omega-6 equals inflammation as well. So by the time you put omega-6 together and sugar, such as you would find in, say, muffins or pizza bases or breads, you have got a problem. You've got a problem that when you look around, when you walk out into a busy street, just look around and see how healthy the average person is. If somebody's 50 and looking really trim and fit, they are the standout person in the crowd. They are not common. So, wish you all the best. Just go for it. There's no such thing as failure. If you have any setbacks, you just start again. Don't beat yourself up, just start again. But once you get through your 4 weeks, the closer that you can stay to, say, 90-95% of being on the Vibrant Health Way all the time, the easier it is. If you're around the 70%, then you're forever making little rationalizations about, well, I can have this, I can have that, and I'll just have a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And then it all falls apart, because you start to bring more of that sugar desire back. We want to free you from that. Thank you. I'm Ian Newton. Enjoy. Enjoy the benefits.